Okay, so working on the second page in the Hannah Montana, the Altered Book project that I'm working in this book. If you haven't seen the information about this project, I will put a link up or down below in the description so that you can go check it out. A couple of people have said they found the video of me making the first page and then they didn't know what this project was, but they wanted in on it. So I will link to this project. You don't need this book, but we're altering a big book. So this is the one I'm using. There should be a link here for you to find it. If you want to see me create this page, I'll put a link to this page as well down below, or you can just search for my Altered Book Project videos or look in my my playlists. I'm going to put them all in a playlist together so it'll be easy to find on my YouTube channel. Working in the second page, which has a pocket here and had this identification card in it, which I wrote on because I was testing some paint markers. But this came in here. Mine ripped just a little bit right here on this edge, and it doesn't much matter. I don't know that I'm going to be using this card. I may tuck something else in here. I haven't decided yet. What I've done, and what I talked about in one of my other videos where I was just talking, not painting, I talked about the fact that it took so much gesso. On this page, I used 3 coats of gesso to cover up what was under it because these pages are super bright and colorful and a lot of this stuff shows through. So what I did here was I ended up doing 3 coats of gesso because as my gesso dries, it gets more and more translucent. It might be the quality because I am using the Basics brand by Liquitex, which is their student grade. That might be why. I don't know. But I just wanted some gesso on the page so that I know that my paint will stick, because also these pages are glossy. So I was concerned about paint sticking, and I did notice whenever I used my paint markers on these just to test them and I scratched at it, it comes off. So I'm afraid that paint will scratch off of these pages. So gesso, I did 1 thin coat, and then what I'm doing instead of layer after layer of gesso, which could get really costly, is I purchased a large 8-ounce bottle of white craft paint in titanium white. Craft paint has a lot of chalk in it. Titanium white especially is an opaque white. It's not translucent, so it will cover. Opaque, if you don't know, opaque means it will be like solid, not see-through. Translucent is see-through. I'm sorry, I know I have some younger viewers, so bear with me, and I'll try to make sure that I say things that make sense for you guys, because I know I have some younger girls who watch me. So craft paint is very opaque. It has solid coverage because it has a lot of chalk in it, because it doesn't have as much pigment in it as the higher quality paints. So this I paid about $4.50 for, not on sale because my craft paint wasn't on sale. Often you can get the 2-ounce bottles for like 69 cents, 99 cents, and you could, this is 4 of these. So what I did is I put 1 coat, and not thick, of either one, whether it was gesso or the craft paint. I did not put a very thick coat. You can still see through this, but it doesn't matter. This is plenty of coverage because I have decided to put paint on this. If I was going to collage over it with tissue paper, I would probably still do a coat of gesso and craft paint so that the tissue paper would show up, because a lot of times tissue paper is very see-through. And if I was going to use a heavier paper, I might just put the thin coat of gesso so that I know everything will stick nicely and just put it on there. I am not 100% certain if like collage medium or whatnot will peel off later, so I will probably always gesso my page unless there's something I want to show through. So I don't really know where I'm headed with this yet. I just want to get some color on the page to start with. I tore these large sheets of what is it? Parchment paper. It's like a kitchen roll. I think some people might call it deli paper or deli wrap. I don't know. It's not wax paper. Wax paper is great, but I don't have any. So I had parchment paper, so that's what I used, and it seemed to work pretty good to help protect my page. It doesn't even matter that whether it's sticky or non-sticky. Like wax paper is good to put between your pages if they're not solid dry, so that they don't stick together, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm strictly using it to keep the paint from slopping all over the place, so I just needed something large enough so I didn't have to keep putting multiple sheets of computer paper, printer paper in there. So all I'm going to do is squirt some white paint on here because I want my colors to mix a little and not be too bright. So a little here, a little more here, because of the colors I'm using. I am using teal from Golden brand, and I am going to use Quin Magenta, which is a dark pink. The teal, as you can see, Golden brand, let me zoom in for just a second here. Golden brand acrylics are high quality fluid acrylics, and they have a lot of pigment in them. They are very translucent, as you can see, which means they're see-through. They put black bars on all their bottles and they put a swipe of paint across them. If you can see through them, you know they're pretty translucent. This one, actually, the teal is a lot more opaque. It's a lot more solid coverage. So those are what I'm using. By mixing them with the white paint, I'm also lightening the color a little bit, but I'm also amping up how opaque they are, how much coverage they'll provide. So I'm going to do kind of a lot of the teal because I want to keep that color a little darker, and then just a few drips of the pink because it's very dark and it's going to blend with the white. And I'll add more if I need to. I just want to get some on to the page. I'm using a 1-inch flat wash brush by that is not easy to say, by Simply Simmons. It's one of my favorite brands. If you watch my videos, you know I love them. I buy them for $2.50 to $3.50 at my art supply store, and they hold up really well, and so I love them. They take the abuse that I dish out. So I'm just wetting my brush a little, and I'll probably actually want it a little more wet than I left it so that I can make this paint really blend and smooth around nicely. And I'm strictly just mixing the color with the white on the page. I'm probably going to do this little pocket a different color later, so I'm not worrying about getting good coverage on top of it. I'm leaving some of the white streaks in there. That's on purpose because I like it. I'm going to bring the teal across here just a little bit before I mix it, just so that I'll get a little purpley mixed in there before it turns pink. Just allowing these colors to blend on their own to make something that I think is pretty. I did dip my brush just a tiny little bit in some more water to cause the paint to flow a little bit better and blend a little easier. Just the tip. And there you go. I'm not really going for anything specific here, so just getting paint on the page so that I can move forward, because sometimes I just need color to get going. Okay. Yeah. I am really sloppy, so paint got over there. Partly, I think, because I moved my paper. So I'm going to just wipe that off. This does not worry me too much. My art journals are usually pretty messy anyway, so I'm not usually overly concerned about paint transferring from one page to the next, or even to the one behind it. As you can see, it did a little bit, and it will at this point still pretty much wipe off if you do so with a damp towel. I know you can't see what I'm doing, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm trying not to tip the edge. I got a little bit on this far edge and I wiped most of it off. I am not super concerned about it. If you are super concerned about it and that drives you crazy, what you can do so that your paint doesn't seep over, on the page previous to the one that you're painting, let me see if I can tip this without getting it all over. On this page, you wouldn't need to do it over here, but on this page, to help prevent this, you can apply painter's tape around the edge of your page, and you still want to use a block in here to keep the paint from going everywhere and getting all over everything, but that will help keep it off your edges, and then you can just peel it off, and you can use a heat gun a little bit against the tape whenever you're trying to peel it off to help it peel off cleanly for sure. Shannon Green swears by it, that it doesn't cause any problems. She's never had it pull up paint. I have never actually done it, so I haven't tried it myself, but I trust Shannon. She's an awesome artist and she has great ideas, and that works for her. I've seen her use it, but just make sure it is painter's tape. You want the low tack tape. If you use regular masking tape or other kinds of tape, it could pull up. So you definitely want something made for painting. Often it's blue, often it's the same color as masking tape, but you definitely want something painter's tape. You can find it in the hardware stores everywhere. So I'm going to let this dry completely before I move on, and maybe by then I'll come up with an idea of what I want to do. I do need to try and make sure this stays up so that it doesn't stick. So if you're painting this, and I like put a little paint just down a little bit, make sure that this is raised while it dries so that it'll keep that pocket there for you. I will be painting the pocket later a different color. I'll probably just lay some painter's tape around it. You'll get to see how that works, and then I'll paint that a different color. So I don't think I want to do it yet. It could be risky to try and paint it on top of this wet paint, so I'll wait. So yeah, let it dry and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so I am back now to work on my page. This is completely dry. Yeah, completely dry. So forgive me, those of you who didn't watch my last YouTube video or who are watching me on Udemy. I have a bit of a pinched nerve going on in my hip, so I had to take some pain medicine. So if I'm a little bit flighty, I apologize. So we'll just see how this goes. I'm determined to get this done. So all I'm doing right now is I'm going to put some painter's tape around the edges of this little pocket right here. I want to go ahead and paint this. So I'm just to help protect it from getting too messy. And it's raised, which is going to make it easier to paint, but I don't know, seemed like a good idea. And then I'm just going to put this card in here. I don't think I'm using this card. I don't know. And if I am, I'm altering it anyways. So I want to see how far down does it really go. Like, does it really go all the way in? If I alter it, I'll be altering the card as well. So I'm not overly concerned about getting paint on the card. And I don't even know that I'm using the card. I might just stick something else in here. I haven't 100% decided yet what I'm doing. So that'll protect it. And I want to paint it black. I do. I'm kind of liking these lighter colors that I've been doing with black. Like, I really love how this page looks with the lighter colors and the black on it. So maybe I'm kind of still following along with that theme a little bit. So I know I have a palette. I have a piece of palette paper somewhere. There it is. I could just use my thing, but I just didn't want to clean it. Okay, I'm just going to wet my brush a little. I've mentioned many times that I use a damp brush all the time just to help keep the paint from soaking up into the ferrule of the brush, because it will soak all the way up there if the bristles are dry, and it makes it harder to clean the paint out. So I always just use a damp brush. Yeah. I'm going to hit this with the heat gun and dry it, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I pulled out some tissue paper to play with. Let's open it. It's loud. Get rid of the loud packaging. So I have this tissue paper. It looks a little zebra print to me. I think that's the look they're going for. Let's open it all the way up. Yeah. And I kind of like it. It's kind of cute, right? So I think I'm going to use some of this on here somewhere. Does anybody else feel like crazy anal about folding your tissue paper back up like you're supposed to? Problem with it. So I'm thinking I'm going to tear some of it vertically. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to thin this down just a hair, a couple of places. Okay, so I'm going to affix this with some matte medium. I know I said I had some collage stuff. What's this? This is decoupage. I talked about it in one of my YouTube videos. If you're watching this on Udemy, you probably didn't see it, but I did talk about trying out some decoupage medium versus always using my matte medium, and I just haven't poured this into, maybe I'll just do that real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so what I had talked about before was using some decoupage medium. I usually use matte medium like this to adhere my thinner papers like tissue paper and such, but I was a little concerned about the quantity that I would be using in a book this large, because I do know that I want to cover some of these pages with tissue paper because it will help obscure the photos and words and everything from underneath, and I didn't want to use up a ton of my expensive medium, and so I decided I'd go ahead and give a try to use some collage medium or collage glue. It is made by the same company. It's by Deco Art, and it's the Americana line, and they do make the craft paint that I am using on the pages like we talked about. So I'm hoping to save a little bit of money that way on this project because it's going to be huge, and it's a matte, so hopefully, so it should be similar to matte medium. The texture looks like it's pretty close. It's a little bit thicker maybe than my matte medium. Yeah, a little thicker, but that's okay. This is all that I had left, and I wanted to pour it out of here because I don't want to pour it in a bowl and then waste whatever I don't use out of what I pour in. So I like to move my mediums into a jar that I can dip directly into because I couldn't put a brush all the way down to the bottom of this bottle. And I'm hoping that because it's made by the same company that do these acrylic craft paints, that this is acrylic as well, because like matte medium is basically acrylic without the color. So I'm kind of hoping that's what this is. It doesn't say, it doesn't have any ingredients listed on it. I guess it's not really a typical thing that you would find in paint and such, so I'm just kind of hoping it's going to work out. I'm assuming it'll be just fine. I just have this jar that I just bought at my art supply store to hold excess paint, so I just stuck that in there. I'll put a label on it later, but for now it's ready to use. That way I can dip my brush directly into it. And as I have told you guys all before, I use special brushes that are strictly for my glues, matte mediums, things like that that can really get in and ruin your brush. You don't want to dip a wet brush into your mediums because then you're introducing water into it. That's not a good idea. By dipping a dry brush, then you have the problem with the medium does soak up into the very base of the bristles, which is very hard to rinse out completely. And then this one is relatively new, so it still bends, like my bristles still bend, but I have others that are older and these bristles, only the tips bend. Like this part is solid now, it just doesn't want to bend. And that's just what happens to the brushes that you put in this. And I soak them. I soak them long enough that the paint comes off the handles in water. It doesn't like to come out. So I just buy inexpensive brushes. I always buy the same ones with the purple wood handles. That way I know all the time, I know those are the ones that I use strictly for glues and mediums and such, like gel mediums and things. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue these down to the edges. Granted, if you don't have, I mean obviously it's not likely that you happen to have zebra tissue paper laying around. So this is definitely a different consistency from the matte medium that I am used to. I think it'll be fine. I think I can adjust to it and live with it. So I just want to butt this up close to the edge. Since it's already a straight line, I'm going to try and line it up relatively close, but it's just not working. So, oh well. Yeah, this is thicker. I may need to add a little water to it to make it a consistency that I'm comfortable with. Can I do that? I don't know. I don't know if you can add water to decoupage glue because I don't use it. I need to do some research. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know. Let me know what you think. It feels like it wants to tear the tissue paper. If this was really delicate tissue paper, I don't know that it would enjoy what I'm doing to it and if it would hold up. It's feeling sticky and like it wants to grab the paper and tear. I am not worrying about making this perfectly smooth. I do have wrinkles. I kind of like the wrinkles that happen in tissue paper, so I'm leaving them. Again, I don't expect that everybody happens to have zebra tissue paper laying around, so I pulled out even a couple other black and white tissue papers. I'm just going with the black and white look, and those are, I mean, it should be pretty easy to find some sort of black and white tissue paper wherever you are. I'm attempting to keep these supplies on some of these pages at least. I can't guarantee on every page, every layout that I do, but I am trying to keep the supplies easy to find, stuff that you might already have, or just try to keep them pretty basic and or easy to find or replace and use something else, so that those of you who don't necessarily have all the art supplies that you might want to have can still do these pages in a similar fashion if you wanted to follow along and do the project the same way I am. So, it's pretty much any black and white tissue paper should work. I mean, like I said, I'm just messing around with it here. Yeah, I definitely need to work on the consistency. Does anybody else have a problem with the consistency of their decoupage glue? Does it feel sticky when you use it? I'd love to hear from you, because this feels very sticky, like thick, I don't know. Okay, I am going to heat dry this a little. I have done this over top of my parchment paper so it shouldn't stick, and then I'm going to trim the edges to the edge of the book, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm going to take these out just to get them out of the way for now. I don't need them tucked in there. What I'm going to do now is paint zebra stripes on this little black pocket to go along with the zebra stripes around the edge. I let this dry, and the top is fairly dry. But I think the white that I'm seeing through it is the glue underneath the tissue, because right now it's not clear and it's supposed to dry clear. So I'm hoping that that is what it's going to do. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see a little easier what I'm doing. Let me move the book around so we can get to there. There we go. And I am going to be using my Montana paint marker. This is completely upside down to you, I apologize. My Montana acrylic paint markers. So if you don't have one, you can definitely do this with the brush. Excuse me, I'm shaking. Yeah, I wish I had more coverage. I'm wondering if I didn't shake this up good enough, because it really had better coverage the last time I tried to use it. Much better. So you can totally do this with a paintbrush and white paint. I just decided to give it a try with my paint marker because I hadn't used them much at all yet, and I wanted to see if I like them. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about these things yet. Again, because I haven't really used them at all since I got them. Oh, okay. There's a little bit of zebra print. And zebras are all like natural-like and stuff, right? So it doesn't really matter what pattern you guys decide to follow or make your zebra into, because I guess it should be kind of natural, right? This is a design that I actually did in huge parts in my daughter's bedroom on one entire bedroom wall. I should show you guys pictures of that, shouldn't I? Her walls are crazy off the charts. They're like gray with dark and light purple zebra print on one wall. They have dark and light purple cheetah print on another wall. Then on the other two, those are opposite each other. The zebra and the cheetah are opposite each other. And then on the other two walls opposite each other are giant red lips with pink and black cheetah print in the lips. Like, she wanted some crazy stuff on her walls, and I gave it to her. I should put pictures in. Would you guys like to see pictures? Show of hands. Okay, I finished adding some extra. There's still one that looks a little see-through. There we go. I just need to get some paint flowing. I think these markers are going to require just a little bit of me learning how to use them properly. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the heat gun so that it can dry, and then I'll be right back again. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to draw a girl, so I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to do it on sketch paper, and then I might cut her out and glue her onto something else. I'm thinking maybe to put in the pocket on that page. I'm not 100% sure, but I know I want to draw a girl real quick. Well, okay, so, that's the sort of thing that happens whenever you forget that you have your paint palette sitting on the side of your table and your brush sticks into the black paint. And now I have a mess and I get to start over again with my girl. Yay me. Okay, now that I have the sketch done, I'm going to just color her in real quick. Again, I think I'm just going to use color pencils. I don't know if I'm going to paint over it later or not, so I'll probably do the whole face, just because. Now she really should have been sprayed with workable fixative first because my pencil definitely will smudge. Again, I'm just not going for anything that perfect in this look, so I'm just going to go with it and color her in even with all of the pencil marks and any smudging that happens. I'm just not really going to care. I'll probably just use the pencil to do the shading, and if I need to help blend it in, it'll be okay. I don't know if you can notice this on camera, but the pencil lines are definitely affecting the color of my skin tone here, and I am choosing just not to worry about it too much. Okay, I will need a sharpener. I will be back. Okay, so what you can see me doing is really... Oh, my white pencil broke. That's very devastating. What I'm doing is pushing really hard with the white pencil, and it will smooth... I'm going to leave this short so that it doesn't break. It will smooth out the pencil that's already there, and instead of all the lines and stuff that you can see in the color pencil, it'll get very smooth. And you can do this with the clear blendy pencil. Where's that at? I'll show you an example of it. Pretty sure I have one in here somewhere. There it is. Prismacolor sells a clear no color blender pencil that will blend these, but as you can see, like on the neck, I don't think it works as well as just using the white to blend in. And Prismacolors, because they are so soft and creamy, do this in a way that no other color pencils do. So if you have other color pencils, you don't have Prismacolor, definitely you might want to paint your girl in versus doing this technique of just using the color pencils like I'm doing, because they're not going, unless you have another brand, and if you know of one, let me know of it in the comments, because the only pencils I know that are as amazingly creamy and wonderific is my word for Prismacolors, I'm not familiar with them. They're the only ones that I know that are so creamy and wonderful. Oh, some of you are going to ask me later what colors I'm using. I am using just the seashell pink right now. That's the same first color that I put on. I have not changed it. This is still the seashell pink again. The next color that I'm working in now is going to be the beige sienna. Okay, well, she's about as good as she's going to get. I might go ahead and add some paint to her later. I'm not really sure. We'll see. But I am going to give her a quick spray with the workable fixative before I go any further, and then I will be back. Alrighty then, so my face dried really quickly, so I'm going to just go ahead and give her a quick cutout and get her glued onto the page. Now, her hair may not stay exactly like this. I'll throw that away since on the back is the one that I completely mucked up. Mucked with an M, I said. Okay, so, yeah, I think she might go all the way to one side. Where's she gonna go? We just don't know. Maybe in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to stick her down, and this time I'm going to use the matte medium because I'm not sure how much I love that decoupage glue. I'm not 100% sold on it, so this is thinner, and I know how it's going to react, and I'm a little scared. So don't make fun of me if you guys use decoupage glue like all the time, and you're like, what is your problem? I don't know. I don't know what my problem is. A couple of bubbles where the paper is buckling because I used really thin, horrible, cheap sketch paper for this. So it's going to buckle. And I obviously did not spray a very heavy enough coat of the workable fixative because her hair pencil marks are moving. I'm having one of those days. We all have them in our creative careers here, and today is mine. I'm just going to leave it and let it dry. It'll be fine. It's good enough. This is our art journal. This is not, I'm not doing a fine art painting here, so it's going to be okay. I'm going to hit this with the heat gun and get it dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, as for it being one of those days, let me just let you know how bad it is. You saw me do the sketch and I got paint on it. What you didn't see is while I was trying to clean the paint off that brush, I flicked black paint on my face. Yep, so then I had to jump up to clean that off. And right now, as I was drying this, I decided to take a sip out of my iced coffee and somehow managed to let the straw slip out of my mouth and spit coffee all over myself. So I'm a mess, to say the least, and it's just one of those days. I'm wondering what this page is going to end up looking like. I'm getting a little scared now. Things are getting crazy. Okay, so I'm going to use my water-soluble crayons for her hair. You don't have to. Obviously, you can use whatever you want if you want to do paint or markers or whatever you want to do. I'm trying to decide what color her hair is going to be. I'm thinking maybe something completely different from the page, but then I'm afraid to go too far. The way that this day is going, if I try to do something kind of odd and out of the ordinary, I'm probably going to ruin something. So maybe I should just stick with color I'm familiar with, and that is already in the page, the purple. So I'm a little bit afraid, I'll admit, to try something right now, where ordinarily I would give just about anything a try. I was thinking about scarlet, like a bright red would be really cute right about now, but yeah, I'm a little nervous to do something to completely destroy my page, considering that I'm having so much trouble today. So it happens, we all have these days, right? So I'm going to extend her hair just a little bit outside of where it was drawn, just because it seems like the thing to do. Yeah. Alright. Put these away. I may use them again, I don't know. And grab a brush to get it wet. And some water. Water would be good for this. I'm running low on water in my water bottle. I usually keep a little water in a squeezy bottle, which is empty now, so that I have clean water in my relatively clean, gross cup here, but it's actually clean water. I actually really like the fact that they're staying so much lighter near the top of her hair. I kind of like that, the variation in color. Okay, finally something is going right. Let's just hope that it continues. Let's hope it continues. I'm going to go in with, I think, purple and maybe this turquoise. This is pearl turquoise and pearl violet in my Lumiere paints, which are my very metallic luminescent paints. They are a light body, thin. Oh goodness gracious, that really hurts when you have carpal tunnel. Alrighty, let me find a brush. A little teeny brush. I know I have one in here, just can't see it. Okay. So I don't wet my brushes when I stick them in to the Lumieres, just because I'm going straight from the bottle on these paints. So as I normally do, wet the brush, but I'm only going to use the tip anyway, so it's going to be fine. I just wanted to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing with the eyes. Okay, so I've dried those enough so that I can come in and do the pupils. Ooh, hot paper. Alrighty, so there you have it. I just added a little pupil and a little eyeliner with my black brush tip Pitt pen. I'm going to just outline the irises a little with my pencil. Okay. And I think I'm going to leave the rest of her looking natural. Maybe just leave her like this. And what do I want to do next? I want to kind of muck up the background. Muck with an M. Don't think bad of me. I think what I'd like to do is maybe take a brayer to it and really just make a mess. So instead of my palette, I'm going to do this on a piece of paper. Just put a strip of white paint, bind my brayer, here we go, and just touch into it a little and start getting my brayer loaded. And I'll do this on the side from now on. I just wanted to show you how I planned on loading my brayer. So just a little, get a little paint at a time, move it around until it's how you want, so that when you take it to the page, it looks how you want it to look. A brayer and white paint make me happy, I must say. And I am going over her a little, and I'm going to try and stay away from her face too much. I don't want to go too crazy and totally obscure her face or ruin an eye or something. So her hair, not worried about getting it on there, trying to stay off the face just a little. Now, my brayer that I'm using is wood, so sometimes it takes me a little longer to go over some places than if I had maybe a rubber brayer, but I have not purchased one, so I use what I have. Okay, so love that. I never wash my brayer. I just rub off most of the paint and call it good. Okay, so I like that a lot. It needed a little messing up is what it needed. Next, I think I want to add a little bit of text with a text stamp. And cleaning my stamps is also something I seldom do. I consider stamping them off onto a somewhat clean page good enough. Okay. I'm starting to feel this page again. Yeah, finally. Whew. It took a minute, didn't it? Okay. What next? What are we doing next? I don't know. Let me think about it. Okay, so I've decided that I want to just put some words on this page. I'm going to use my letter stamps from Recollections. It is the, doesn't even tell you what kind. Fun letters. Well, that was creative, wasn't it? Give me a minute, think, I'll be back. Okay, so I have these Recollections Valentine's stamps that I got very recently. And Valentine's stuff was on clearance for like 80% off, so I paid, I don't know, maybe a couple bucks? I'll be right back after I get these stamps put away. Okay, so next I have these butterflies that are from K & Company. They are dimensional. They're like pop-ups inside of them. I don't know, but they're really simple peel and stick stickers, and I'm just going to put these in a few places. I want this one like as part of the pocket, because I think that's cute. And this one is going over here in this empty spot. And I think this one's going in her hair. Yep, it is. Might have been a little premature to add the things that I'm not going to paint over, but I just wanted to see them in the page. I think they're super cute. I really do. I think I also want to go around the edge of my pages with my black StazOn. I don't think I want to go across the bottom with this, just across where the zebra print is. Or if you used any other, tissue paper, fine. Okay, so I'm liking this a lot. And I think that part of, if you guys watched my last just random chat video, I talked about a page that I did where I silenced my inner critic. And I'm still thinking about that concept of how judgmental we are to ourselves. So what I think I'm going to do is maybe write like a note to self about that, like why I should believe in myself. And that's kind of where I went with, believe in yourself, dream big, and tuck it in here. I'm not 100% sure. Give me a minute to think about it, and if you like that idea, go with it. Now I don't know if exactly for sure if I'm going to do that, because I kind of have silenced my inner critic already doing that last journal exercise that I showed you. So I'm feeling pretty good about, kind of letting myself do what I want to do. So I'm not sure, but if you like that idea of, writing yourself a note as if you were a friend, encouraging your friend, because if you write like you're writing to yourself, you might not be too nice. So think about it. I'll be right back. Okay, so I really wasn't sure what I wanted to put in this pocket. Again, like I said, a note to yourself, and I would like fold it up, and on the outside write note to self, and then tuck it in here so I could pull it out and read it all the time if I needed that encouragement. I thought that was a great idea. Again, I feel really settled with, at least at this time, having not completely silenced my inner critic, but I've really put a lot of duct tape across his mouth. I'm feeling pretty okay with where I'm going with my art right now. So, and that's not always the case. It comes in fits and spurts, of course, But what I found looking through my stuff, I came across this ATC that I did almost exactly 2 years ago. And I don't know, it was one of the first things that I created doing faces that I actually liked. And it took me a long time to be able to quickly do a face. I guarantee you this face took me, 10-15 minutes. This face probably took me an hour when I created it 2 years ago, because I didn't have any real tricks to follow, and I worked really hard to draw even a serviceable face back then. So I think this is kind of indicative of what I'm trying to get across here with believing in yourself and dreaming big, because I've come a long way. And I know she's not horrible. I mean, she was actually, like I said, one of the first things that I made, one of the first faces I made that I really liked, and it was part of a swap, and I was terrified to make my faces and put them out there. And I did it, and I kept her. I made a few, I made it extra so that I would have some to pick from. And I'm glad I did now, because I think I'm going to tuck her right inside here, and I'm probably going to put just a tiny little bit of adhesive that is removable on the back of her. I have some kind of like scrapbooking adhesive that is removable so that she can stay there, and I'll probably just put a little, because I have it dated on the back, and I can put a little bit, see, it says February 2012, put a little bit right there so that it won't move around, because I don't want it to go all the way in or she won't show. But that way I can still pull her up and look at the back if I want to, or if I need to be reminded of the date. But there we go. I finally have this page done that I have been really trying to get done for you guys for some time now. And I thank you so much for your patience. And yeah, dream big and believe in yourself. Yeah, those are good. That's good advice. You are welcome. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, which is almost over for me now that I'm finally getting this together and done. And I will see you guys soon. Hopefully it won't be quite so on the edge of a week before I get another page done, but I make no guarantees. This is kind of as we go kind of project here, so we'll see how I will do one as quickly as I can. But for now, we're good to go. Page 2 in the Hannah Montana Altered Book Project. And I thank you guys so much for sticking it out with me and spending time with me. And I love you all. Don't forget to subscribe to my video down below. Click the thumbs up. Please, if you like it. If you're watching me on Udemy, I'm sorry. But, you know, I do these videos on YouTube and I'm adding them to a Udemy to keep them all together so that they're easy to access later. So, for those of you on YouTube, please click the subscribe, click the like button, leave me a comment. I will reply. I love hearing from you guys. And other than that, I will see you guys later. There will be links down in the description to everywhere that you can find me if you want to get in touch with me in any way. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.